And we're live for another Friday night pint. I'll just go live while I wait for the others to join. Otherwise, we'll be here all day and all night. But yes, big stuff to talk about. Karren Brady finally left West Ham. Hallelujah. Big step in the right direction. But is David Sullivan next? Is this a sign that the end is near? That there is light at the end of the tunnel? We will get into that. And obviously, we're going to be looking ahead to the humongous, massive Everton game tomorrow, 3:00 kickoff. Huge game. So we're going to break that down and talk about all the other stuff that comes up when you guys, whatever you guys as well pop up within the chat. You know what I mean? And we'll go from there. Why the Irish shirt? So yeah, Irish heritage. We got a lot of these shirts come through. I've got an England shirt as well, but it's a bit big. I'm losing weight, so but this one fits nice, and this is a beautiful shirt. This is a beautiful shirt. Adidas just they don't miss. I wish we still had them. Oh yeah, Forest are playing. Bloody hell, yeah, we're going head to head with the Forest game. So let me get that on. This will be a sort of watch along at the same time. Let's get the game on. Right, I'm going to set that up. So the other two are coming as well. Northern 1971 Northern Ireland. I have to have a look at that. But the Northern Ireland shirts, there's some nice ones. But I don't like. I love the Republic shade of green, but I have no ties to Northern Ireland. Let me get this game up, so we can also do a little bit of a cheeky watch along as we get into the scumbag that is Karren Brady, and it is just a relief that she's gone. People have tried to say, all the good she done and what a loss it is for football and the legacy that she has in the game and trailblazer. Northern Ireland, that's Republic. No, he was talking about the Northern Ireland shirt. Like he was saying the Northern Ireland shirt he thinks is nicer from 71. That's why it come up. We have people joining. We have lads coming. And one of the lads is about to join right now. And then we have another lad that will be joining as soon as he's able to be. Kretinsky hated by Royal Mail workers. Yeah, I don't have much hopes for Kretinsky. This idea that Kretinsky would come in and be the saviour. Are you waiting for me to bring you in, Scott, or are you just taking your time?
No, I was waiting for a moment to come in, mate. I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, no, mate. I'm waiting for you. I'm just padding time. So we've got Brian joining as well soon, shortly. He did inform me that he would be running a bit late. But Scott's here. The other two, they're out at a dinner with the boys of 86. I've got the game on as well. A win here would pretty much say the Forest are definitely out of it. Yeah, like that would cement it. So, mate, like, look, I haven't got a chance to talk to you about this topic.
No, Brady, which is unusual for us because normally we would have discussed it all by now. But
yeah, I know. But as they say, ding dong, the witch is dead. Well, she's not dead. She's just left the club. Thank God for that. Thoughts and feelings, mate. Like your initial reaction. How do you feel that Karren Brady is no longer a part of West Ham United?
I'll be honest, mate. It's a good thing, isn't it? Look. She is what she is. She's done what she's done, but ultimately she lied to us all. And I'll be glad to see the back of her. We ain't, it's one of the ones that we've wanted out of the football club for a long time. Is it running from a sinking ship? We'll have to wait and see. But mate, I'm just glad she's gone. I really, really am. She wasn't a fan. She was brought in to run the business side of things. Okay, when she first come in, she did a good job of cutting all the waste money that the Icelandics have put in. But as I said, ultimately, she was part of the reason that we are where we are with the London Stadium, and we're still in the debt that we're in.
Yeah, exactly. I think like so much is made of this, like what a great businesswoman she is, and she's done such a great job. I mean, I don't know what her actual businesses are,
Hmm.
and people look at football as a business, right? You can't compare a football club to Marks and Spencers
Yep.
or any other corporate entity because success is not judged by just by the profits; it's judged by success on the pitch or status in the league, right? So yeah, if you're a consistent Premier League club, that elsewhere we've been in danger of relegation consistently. And what happens when you get relegated? You lose money. And look, I can't put it all. You could be the best business person as you like, but when you've got Sullivan running it, but ultimately, I don't think she's done a great job. Sponsorship wise,
Hmm.
we still won't. We've had some, tin pot sponsorships where other clubs have done a lot better. I just
Yeah.
think oh, Forest 1-0
Oh, bloody hell.
cross back post,
Not good. Not good.
mate. And then
Not
there
what we
were
want.
two. And then there were two. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, that's a great cross, and the man is at the back post, and they score. So as it stands, they're 7 points clear of the bottom three.
They
That
ain't,
puts them
mate,
on
they ain't out of
39
it.
points.
If us and Spurs win, they're still not out of it. That's how you got to look at it.
No, but let's be real. They're not out of it, mate. But back-to-back wins like this is a
Oh, it's
win like
massive.
that. They're in pretty great nick, to be
Yeah.
honest. It come off the back of he headed it onto the defender's back of the defender's head and it went in. Wow, that's an own goal.
Hmm.
But they're essentially you have to look at it that it's unlikely that they'll get 8 points less than Spurs.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
You know
Exactly.
what I mean? So that they're
Yeah.
essentially safe.
Yeah.
But yeah, all I can say is, like I said, mate, the big thing is that she's the one who got us into this awful stadium, got us
Hmm.
into this stadium where we have no say over anything that happens in it. We've had times where we've missed opening fixtures because of it. We've had instances of them putting up the wall,
Yep.
them us having temporary West Ham stuff instead of actually making it our own, like changing the seats, claret.
Yeah.
There's so many things that we're just tenants, and that's largely because of her, And yeah, I honestly, mate, I'm so glad to see the back of her, but it's not done. We've still got Sullivan.
That's it. That's the thing, mate. And it like you said, for a business mind, that she's meant to be this great businesswoman and the like. As I said, when she come in, there was a lot of wastage going on. She cut that, which okay, that's great. But at the end of the day, for a business model of running a football club, the deal that they signed up to in the sense of the rent that we pay for the stadium is fantastic. The money that we're paying is for what we're renting is ridiculous. But like you said, you've then agreed to this fantastic deal for us that you're not going to spend all this money. It's not going to cost us a lot of money to rent the stadium, but then there's no power. Do you know what I mean? This big white elephant of a stadium that would be completely derelict. You've signed a deal to go. Okay, you've got the cheap rent, but then you've got no power over it. You're dictated to when you can have fixtures. You can't have a Boxing Day fixture because the shopping centre's there. You can't have an opening day fixture because we want to have stupid athletics that attracts a couple of thousand people, if that.
Yeah.
And I love the Olympics. The Olympics is great. I love watching athletics, but let's be honest. They should have pushed much harder to get a better deal. And if you're a good business person, you push a lot harder to get a better deal.
Yeah.
And it was just a case of, oh look, cheap rent, we'll have it, and that was it.
Oh yeah. And that's it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we went in against Spurs for the bid, right? And they were like, do you know what? Let's just say whatever it is they want to hear, so we win this bid. Let's
Yeah.
bend over backwards, say, yep, we'll do everything. Spurs are like, no, it needs to be knocked down. We're like, we'll keep it as it is. You have all the say. You know what I mean? Like, it's just she bent over quick. And I don't see the benefit that we've really, as a football club, got to move into this stadium now, because I had said this last week, like the extra money we've made off season tickets is a drop in the ocean compared to TV money. I don't see how that's pushed us forward.
No,
What we've achieved at this ground, we could have achieved them more at Upton Park, with
totally agree.
Europe and the
Totally
trophies.
agree, mate.
Trophy.
And the thing is, we touched on this discussion with Ryan the other week, and when you look at it, mate, as I said, then you look at the extra revenue generated from season ticket sales compared to the extra revenue that you would get in match day sales. Do you know what I mean? It would have balanced out somewhere along the line. And this thing, I suppose, in a way, the most thing they probably earn more money from is the corporate.
Yeah,
that's probably it. That type of thing, because there's more corporate here at London Stadium than what it was at Upton Park. But as we know, Upton Park could have been redeveloped. But that would have been putting their hand in their own pocket to do it. Why are you going to put your hand in your own pocket when you can go and rent a stadium that's got 60,000 seats in it? And that's exactly that is the business model that she was spearheading. Let's not invest our money. Let's save money, use somebody else's stadium which isn't fit for purpose, and then generate money that way. And as you said, mate, everything we've achieved over this last 10 years or 11 years, whatever it is we've been there, we could have achieved at Upton Park.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And this goes to Forest all over them, by the way. I will say in response to this is maybe we didn't do fuck all at Upton Park for decades. Who knows? Well, one thing, the Conference League didn't exist when we was at Upton Park, and you can say yes, but we didn't qualify. I think we actually finished 7th. We finished in the Conference League position in our last season at Upton Park as well. Yep. So imagine we stayed there. We finished 5th under the Redknapp season. So we've had times we've finished in the top 7 where we would have got into Conference League, and even still, you look at what we've spent and what we brought in since moving to the stadium. Now, some will say, well, moving to the stadium allowed us to spend that. I don't believe that. I believe a lot of it come down to, again, the TV money going higher and higher and higher. And the fact is they had to. They knew that they had to spend. They had to spend for when we moved to the stadium.
Yeah, didn't have a choice, mate. And the thing is, like, when you look at it, right, you look at, we played, all right, we didn't get out of the qualifying phase when we was there before, but we've qualified for Europe at Upton Park. We could sit there and say, "Yeah, Brian, how you doing, mate?"
Yeah, good, man, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're sitting there saying we didn't do anything for decades at Upton Park. Well, it's took Crystal Palace decades to do something at Selhurst Park. These things happen. You've just got to have the right team at the right time with the right set of players and the right manager. And that's what Palace have achieved, what they've achieved. And that's what we achieved. Imagine that going into Europe under Bilic, after that, the last season at the Bowling, not leaving the Bowling.
Yeah.
How things could have been different without having to manage that stadium move and things like that. Things could have been different. It's hindsight. We don't know.
The worst stadium migration in history. That was a tough thing. So, a lot of I think a lot of games that we got turned over and in the stadium we would have won at Upton Park. So, yeah, that's what I believe. Anyway, Brian, how's it going, mate? We haven't had a chance to speak to you about this Brady leaving the club. Thoughts and feelings and thoughts on the future.
Yeah. Listen, I was listening to you guys, and I totally agree with everything that both you and Scott have said. I think it's something we knew was coming. It was pretty much muted around February time, so we were waiting. Everything sort of changed, and you didn't hear nothing again for a while. So the one thing I sort of question at this moment in time is the timing. In addition to that, it's not just her. We've seen there are several other people who play vital roles within the board who have also.
Apparently, just to add, Brian, what I read is every top executive bar one who stayed on, who's retiring at the end of the season. So all the top executives are gone/going.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, there's more questions than answers. Originally, the cynic in me was kind of thinking, with the timing, was it something to kind of appease the fans as a smokescreen based on sort of like the result after the Palace game? Again, the cynic in me. But when more information came out about how many people have left, it just meant to me that there's more questions than answers. We know that there are other things going on in the background that can't really be spoken about, etc. And perhaps maybe that's that's also played a part. But I think what we're seeing now, we're seeing the start of a future transition. I think this is like the beginning of the end for, you know, the old board and for Sullivan. I think there's a lot of pressure on him now. I think with him being at the head completely, you know, doing things that, you know, as Scott said, Brady was doing like the business side of it. She was going to the Premier League meetings and all those kind of things that Sullivan's not exposed to. So he's got to do all of that now. So for me, there's going to be more scrutiny on him throughout. There's already scrutiny from the board perspective, but from the media side of things, other equivalents, there's going to be more scrutiny on him. There's going to be more speculation, and that's going to lead to more pressure to even modernize and develop the team and the club, or to move on. And the problem with that, as we know, is it's all based on our future, right? Where are we going to be? Are we going to, if we remain in the league, that means one thing. If we fall into the championship, that means another thing. So when it comes to desirable suitors, we obviously need to stay in the league in order to achieve a really good outcome.
Yeah, like the thing is, you know, the title, you know, is if Sullivan's next, you know, and I think his days are numbered. There are things that we can't speak about publicly because of fear of legal ramifications. There are injunctions and things like that. If you know, you know. But I believe that which we cannot talk about could definitely have something to do with it. I think the chickens are coming home to roost, and I think it's not long now until this thing becomes public and everyone can talk about it. And I think that because to leave a club, right, 5 games to go now, some will say, well, because we're going to get relegated. Like, how many times, when have you ever seen a club that's getting relegated that loses every single top executive? When have we seen that? I mean, listen, I'm in a West Ham bubble, but I haven't heard of this before. It's like 5 games before a season that all top executives leave. That's mad to say that, because I know someone said, oh, maybe they don't want it on their CV, relegation. Well, if you leave a club 5 games before you're about to get relegated, it's kind of on your CV. If a manager fucking walks away from a team 5 games to go and they're about to and they end up getting relegated, well, you look at that manager and go, well, yeah, you got them there. So I don't think it's just simply because the club's in a shit position, because the end of the season is perfect. Do you know what? You know, we're in the championship. I'm gonna leave because you be the hero. Listen, save the club money. I'm gonna leave, save the wages. We'll all get out, and then we go, okay, we're looking better. I think that there is stuff that we can't talk about that will come out, and I think that it's coming out soon, and that's why, because you don't want to be associated with that. You don't want to be linked with that. So that it's so hard to but if you don't know, there's some dodgy stuff, right? That weird rumors and stuff. So, but without saying it, guys, that's honestly my belief. Is it's something to do with this?
The thing is, Dan, is that, like you said, the timing is the key point. You don't walk away from these type of jobs during the season. You know, unless there's a major issue financially with a football club, you don't leave. You know, people saying they don't want relegation on their CV. Remember, Brady was at Birmingham.
Yeah,
you know, that sort of thing. And let's be honest, she doesn't care about the football side of things, so she's not bothered what league the club's in or anything like that. If these rumours that we're hearing are true, even walking away now, you've still got mud on your shoes. Do you know what I mean? You must know if it is true, and we all know, then you can't tell me people in the position that they are in don't know. And I think, you know, it will come out. And I think this is what it is. I think it is people trying to damage the imitation, trying to distance themselves from what is going to come out, if it does eventually come out. But as I said, you've still got the stains there. You've still sat in bed with these people for this period of time that you've been working with them. So
I wouldn't. I think I wouldn't put that on all the executives, because
no, of course not.
All of them
No.
with the person in question as closely. But the main person in general that who's left, the lady that has left. Yeah, like when you're working with someone that closely for that long, you know, the questions will be asked. Oh, Forest about to go 2-0.
Oh, 2-0.
It's done. Forest have been all over him.
Mate,
Chris Wood.
We've got to worry about ourselves. We've got to forget about anyone else.
Yeah,
We've got to do it ourselves.
And then there were two.
Absolutely.
Then there were two. We'll talk about how this affects us in the relegation when we get onto the Everton thing. But I do think either way, now as well, all the protests have been BS out. You know, now like Scott said a little bit earlier, like he can't hide. Like it's all on Sullivan. The heat is all on him now. So look, hopefully we can talk about this story and all of these things soon, these allegations. But regardless, that or not, like I think Sullivan's feeling the pressure. I think he's feeling the heat. And coming the end of the season, when we're still in the Prem or not in the Prem, I think he'll look at that as a time to maybe walk away. There's all this talk about Gratinsky buying up the Gold family shares, which has been brought up and dismissed. But I wouldn't be surprised if he did it just to turn a profit. I don't think he's interested. And God help us, because he sounds like it'd be a...
Like I said, it's going to be more scrutiny, more speculation, more pressure. All this, it plays beautifully into our hands as fans. His health is not the best as well. Going back on that last point that Scott made, though, I find it really interesting, because I tell you one thing that Brady isn't. She ain't no mug. Yeah, regardless, like, you know, sold us a lie and stuff, but she is a smart cookie. And what surprises me, if you think about it, she's been working with these guys for about 26 years, something like that. It's crazy. Like, it's just, it's so pretty much most of her, if not all of her business career. So I don't know.
But Matt says no more BS will replace with no more S shit. No more DS. No more DS. I think that's what I know. BS was short for bullshit, but you know, no more DS still has the same ring. It could be 3-0 any second now. You know, so look, we've just got to look at it as a positive, to be honest. We've just got to look at this as a step in the right direction, because that's someone that was in Sullivan's inner circle, someone that he's trusted, someone he's worked with for so many years, and that person is gone. There's no one there now to lean on and support him apart from bloody Ampika, whatever her bloody name is, who I think just has an honorary role on the board. Surprise, surprise. So look, apparently he's getting married soon. If I was him, I would get the hell out of here, keep your head down, hope that he won't be eating porridge, and spend his time with his trophy bird. You know, that's what he should hope. But for us, if we stay up, guys, to go into a new season, potentially with new ownership. Oh, 3-0! It's done. This Morgan gives one. Let this show you, by the way, how shit Tottenham Hotspur is. How unbelievably... Sunderland hadn't won a home game in a long time. Spurs rock up, right, and get done 1-0. Next time, home game, Sunderland 3-0 down inside 35 minutes. Spurs are shit. Let that tell you, right, that this idea that, De Zerbi, you know, mate, this is crazy. They're safe. Listen, Scott, whatever you're saying about, well, if they lose and we win, they're still in it, mate. They're safe. It's done, mate. They're for them.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Time will tell, mate. Time will tell.
Scott, mate, come on, Scott. You can't be that delusional. Come on.
The thing is, though, Dan, I see where Scott's coming from. Like, let's look at it on face value. The thing is that there's a lot of football to be played, and
5 games.
Forest do have some sticky fixtures. However, the reality is you'd rather be in their position, because they're that's probably 8 points clear of of Tottenham. So yeah, 7 points less. So
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I mean. So you'd rather be in their position, and they can, yeah, they pretty much can relax. But again, football's just it's funny when it comes to end of the season and strange results. Anything could happen, and I'm in Scott's camp in a sense of forget Forest. I'm just watching what we're doing. So the head to heads, even with how, and we'll get onto it later, but even however the weekend pans out, with it still being in our hands, we just got to do and concentrate what we're doing.
Yeah, we say that, but you know, we're still we always say that, and we've been saying it for ages, but it don't stop us looking at the other games and going,
of course not.
Like,
yeah, of
just
course,
can't resist it. But realistically, Forest might get another couple of draws, whatever. But the belief that Spurs are going to go and pick up like 9 points, say, and for Forest to pick up 0, I think is unrealistic. I don't expect Spurs to pick up 9 points at all, let alone them do it. And they could. Oh, it's going to be 4-0.
Thing is, that's the thing that I can't.
Mate, come on! And look at what this team is going to go and fucking lose their next 4 games. Like, come on!
Strangest things have happened.
Football, anything can happen, Scott.
Yes.
Right? I know that we could go and win our next 5 right in a row, but let's be real, it's not going to happen, is it?
Probably not, no. But
yeah, that's it. Like, come on, mate. They'll pick up. They'll probably beat Newcastle at home or something like. Now, if I'm them, they should have in their mind, no, we're not safe until we're mathematically right. But yeah, it's down to us and Spurs. It's down to us and Spurs.
Yeah.
Let's be completely honest. So, but yeah, like, by the way, anyone, Wolfie's going to be unbearable. Well, listen, me and Wolfie have had a little agreement to Operation Relegate Spurs. So now it's on to us. But yeah, so anyway, anyone got anything to say about the Brady and Sullivan situation? Get your comments in. But yeah, the share situation, I can see the Golds trying to just basically get as much money as they can. And
yeah,
it was David Gold that bought the club, that supported the club. And I think they'd be willing to take a way out, but I just hope that it doesn't go into a situation of Kretinsky having full ownership. I'd rather Kretinsky have full ownership than Sullivan have bitten to get Sullivan out. Like if you ask me, Kretinsky 100% or Sullivan flipping 30%, 38%, whatever he has at the moment, I would take Kretinsky 100%. But I want a clean break from anyone that's been associated with owning this club. Anyone to do with it, I want them all gone, fresh start, clean slate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The worry is now, though, is that if Kretinsky buys the shares off of the Gold family and becomes a major shareholder, or takes Sullivan's shares, whatever he does, then that's fine, because he's already involved in the football club. The problem starts coming when you look at if he's not interested in buying up more shares and becoming the overall owner, and they put the club up for sale. We go into a new season, whatever league we're in, with an ownership that wants out, the second highest board member or owner, so to speak, who doesn't want to purchase the club fully, and then we're a bit in limbo, because if the finances are the way they are and we haven't got a lot of money to spend, without an injection of their cash, we've got no capital.
Yeah,
we've got nothing to loan against now. And then these people are not going to sign up for loans that they're not going to be guaranteeing for the rest of the season, because they don't want to be there. And it could be, listen, I want Sullivan out as much as everyone else does, but we need it done the right way. We don't want him to do what he done with Birmingham and literally sell it to the first person that comes along and run away with his money.
The problem is, it's a problem and it's a benefit, right?
Yeah.
But it's a double-edged sword. Is he can't do that anymore because of the fit and proper owners checks that they do. Like for Newcastle owners, the hoops they had to jump through. Like you can't sell a club to any old rubbish anymore. Like they have to be proper. But the other hand, what that does mean is it's unlikely we will have new ownership for the start of the
Mm.
season because these things will take time. There will have to be checks. From what I'm understanding, like the person that probably would be going and trying to, try and get new owners in, try and get a buyer would be Karren Brady. She'd be the one going out and trying to make that happen. She's gone now. And so are all these executives. Like, who is going to be the person that's going and trying to, facilitate that purchase? Like, there's no one there really. So unless someone just sees what's happening and goes, let me put a bid in, it's going to take time, unfortunately. So it means that it's likely we will go into next season with Sullivan. How much that Sullivan percentage of the club he owns is another thing, because if Kretinsky could be an equal owner or majority owner and Sullivan's could diminish, rumors about Sullivan potentially stepping down as CEO, all of that, but effectively we'll still have the same structure for now. It's going to take time.
And that's the thing. And what you may see from Kretinsky is he may increase his shareholding so that he is the overall majority shareholder to sell the club and make himself more profitable. To sell the club overall to a bigger financial power. But how many of those type of people are out there? That's the thing. We see a lot of clubs and the way they run. Look at Chelsea. The amount of money that was bought for and the amount of money that's been invested. Okay, they're higher than us in the league, but the way they run is terrible.
Yeah,
and that is a fit and proper company person taking it over. That's the problem. You've got to get the Newcastle way they seem to do things seems to be the right way. The ownership there looks quite good. They haven't just chucked money in it. They ain't gone through these loopholes like the Chelsea lot have and signed all these youngsters and then put in yes men managers who are going to do what they're told and allow the physios and the scientific side of the football people take over. Newcastle have got a plan. Okay, it's not sort of going great for Eddie Howe this season, but they've got a plan in place. They haven't spent ridiculous amounts of money and they're running the football club the right way by the looks of it. From we're not involved as much as a Newcastle fan is, but to me they seem to be running it the right sort of way and how you want your football club run.
The thing is, unfortunately we have no say over who they sell to, right? We have no control. So like for us, look, it's Sullivan out, whatever happens. I'm not going to sit and worry about them selling us to someone worse or someone just as bad. That whoever they sell us to we have no control. So we've got to make our peace with that. I mean, let's everyone's talking about this game. I mean, so let's talk about survival. We'll talk about the Everton game. Let's get straight into it because everyone in the chat is fully focused on what's happening here. We're looking down instead of up, which is, fine. Not a situation for us to be in. We know it's in our hands, right? Right now, survival's in our hands. That is a favorable place to be in, like much better than I'd rather be us than Spurs. So we just need to outperform Spurs. Yeah, right? That's what it comes down to. And tomorrow is huge. And I do worry if we don't win that, How about you guys?
I'm with you. I'm worried tomorrow. Tomorrow's big. In a way, I'm glad we're both kicking off at 3:00.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody knows what they've got to do. There's no added pressure. Everybody knows, right, must win game. We go out there, we win this game. It's better to be, like you said, where we are than be where Spurs are. Spurs are always chasing. They know a draw is not good enough. No matter what our result, if we lose, they know a draw. They've got to win. We've got to win just to try and increase that gap and better what they do. But the pressure's on them more than it's on us. That's how I look at it. And I prefer to be in this position. But tomorrow is a must win because if we get that win and they go to Wolves and don't get a result, it looks rosier for us going into them final fixtures. And that's the key thing. Everton are not going to be an easy game. They're still pushing for Europe. Moyes is going to want to get one over on us, but I don't think Moyes will want to see us go down.
No, but he'll try and win. Thankfully, Braithwaite's out, Beto's out, so striking wise, with them not having a striker they can rely on versus our good defense, that gives me a little bit more hope. I don't know what you think, Brian. I'm going into every game now massively nervous, and I am nervous for tomorrow because it is so important.
Yeah, I mean, look, a bit like the Palace game, I was a little bit wary about this one, just how the dice have fallen with regards to fixtures between us and what we've got, what Spurs got. Everton is a tricky game, and it's more of a thing that their away record is like really good. And you know, what would be interesting to see tomorrow, you know me, I look at it from like a sort of tactical breakdown point of view. And I think what's going to be interesting is when they've played away, they are typical Moyes. They will play on the counter attack. So possession wise, they're happy without the ball. So that's going to be really interesting to see if we can actually dictate the game. They average about 30 something, 35, 38 possession away from home, and they're comfortable with teams to have it, but they score. So they like to keep it tight, like to push the opponents out wide, which could benefit us considering, you know, if we look at our key players being Somerville and Bowen, Braithwaite being out is actually that plays in our favours because one of their plays is sort of like almost like a direct long ball to prevent the opposition's press. So that sort of diagonal play, which is a big part of their tactical play, with him being out, is actually good for us. But I actually see it a game that'd be really tight. I don't see many goals in this.
Mm-hmm.
I think both of us will kind of cancel each other out. What we need to not do tomorrow is give away the ball sloppily. If we give away possession, they're really good with the turnovers and put playing into and die, and that's how they've got a lot of their goals.
To be fair, Brian, specifically early on in games.
You know what? Yeah, in fact, we've been doing this for a couple of years. If you think about it, we've tidied it up a bit. But yeah, as you rightly say, it is something that if we do it tomorrow, we could be in trouble. But flipping it to Spurs, I don't know why everyone sees that as a gimme game with Wolves. Yes, we know Wolves have been relegated, but there could be some positives with that. You know, they just play freely, but they've kind of been playing freely for the last couple of months. But I'm pretty sure someone in the chat can look at it, but I'm sure they're head-to-heads in their last 5. I don't think Spurs have beaten them. I could be wrong with that.
Yeah, no, you're right. They've got a poor record against Wolves.
So I don't know why it's like it's a gimme game. A lot of that is based on 2 things really. I think there's the eye test. We looked at the improvements Spurs' performance was against Brighton, and the other element is fear and probability, isn't it? We say, Spurs could, the neutrals go, well, they can't be like this forever. They're bound to get a win.
Yes, and inevitability. They got to win sometime. Yeah. And everyone worries if they win, they're going. That's it. Like you said, Brian. It's based on fear, not actual. And that includes me. Like, it's not anything of actual analysis that we can look at. It's pure fear.
Yeah. And 100%. And this is why I'm like, sort of agreeing with Scott in terms of we have to look at it. It's the whole cliche, and you've got to just look at ourselves and look at it game by game, and we won't know until the end of the season whether that point against Palace was a good point or not. We can all agree it was an opportunity missed. That is for certain, but we won't know until the end of the season whether it was a point gained, whether we stay up, because we could easily lost that game as well. We could have just threw everything at them and then got beat 1-0, and then we'll be saying like, look, you know, there's that side to it as well. But I think from a systems point of view, I know everyone, maybe including yourself, Dan, is very pro 4-4-2 and stuff like that. And I think it's good for certain games, and there's certain games I don't think it's good for. And the Palace game was one of those games where I just felt a 4-4-2 approach was not the right
because
system,
they played
particularly
back 5.
Yeah, and you know what I mean. So it weren't the right system. Personnel, however, are the right personnel, because you kind of need you kind of need those guys up top who are just going to run for you to bring the best out of Somerville and Bowen, etc. Even if what they're doing is not fully impactful, if you have them in the team, it does bring something out of everyone. But yeah, I just think from a systems point of view, tomorrow will be a little bit different. You know, we're playing at home. We're going to have, you know, the 12th man with the crowd being on our side. The crowd will be up for it tomorrow for sure. And you're more likely to see Nuno take risks in a home game than you would a away game. So it's really going to be interesting. But I can see us cancelling each other out in terms of the Everton game. I could easily see a score draw or even a 0-0. I don't know, but I'm going to think about it. So I haven't even done my predictions on this. So
have a think.
yeah,
I
I don't think on that.
Trent End, 199 super chat, obviously a Forest fan. Are we out of the relegation battle yet? 4-0 away. I'm saying that you are. Mathematically, you're not. I think effectively you're staying up, mate. I will say this. If we do draw a point, this is why you can't just look at your own results, right? Because a point tomorrow, the perspective on that changes. Like you said, the perspective of the point of Palace changes, they said, but a point tomorrow, if Spurs lose, I'm going to feel okay about. I'm going to be disappointed that we could have pulled away, because I look at, if Spurs lose to Wolves, even though we pick up a point, we're only 3 points ahead and we've still got worse goal difference. Like that, if they can't beat Wolves, they're banging. And I know, like you said, Wolves and their record, but this is a game they have to pinpoint. If they can't win now and they've got 4 games to go to the end of the season and they haven't won at all in 2026, like, I'm going to be feeling more confident, even though we haven't got that gap. You know, it's still only 3 points. Like, I'm going to look at it and go, well, we've got this point against a good team and that point against Palace. They can't win. I don't know about you, Scott, but I think that I will be looking at Spurs in terms of whether I would be comfortable with a point or whether I'd be massively disappointed and we need to win. I think their result would dictate that.
I was talking to my Spurs mate the other day, and I turned around and said, you look at that game, that's the best Spurs have played in 2026, and they still couldn't win a game. Yeah. You know, and I think that sums it up, and that will be in the back of their mind, that they played that well against Brighton, and let's be honest, Brighton gave them the first goal, you know, but they played that well and still couldn't get the 3 points. You know, whether you're going in against Wolves or not, that's going to affect your confidence. You're going to go into these games thinking, oh, we gave it our all, and still didn't get the win. You know, that's going to play on the back of their mind, and that they will take that into. And the fact that the Wolves are at home, the fact, okay, they know they're down. There's no pressure on them now. They're going to want to try and give their fans something that will give them the lift. You know, whether we've been in these situations before when we've been relegated with games to go, that the fans will vent their frustration, but the players will then try and give them something to cheer about, and that's what we need. You know, and we need them to raise their game once more and get this one over the line. But Spurs mentally, I don't think their players are fully focused for this relegation battle. They just automatically think, like a lot of us, like you were saying, Dan, with the fear factor. I think they automatically think that they are better than where they are. They are better than where they're playing, and they think they're going to win. And from what I've heard of some of these Spurs players, they will turn up there tomorrow with that mindset. Oh, these are at the bottom. These are rubbish. We're going to beat these. You know, I can see some of them, and that lapse of concentration and that lack of respect for who you're playing could potentially come and bite them in the backside.
Yeah.
It's a great point, and what's made me laugh as well. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but you know, Jazerbi made the comment, didn't he, about sort of the mindsets that you don't want to see no crying and all this business, like some of the players have been doing in their last couple of games. But then they're like have put an advert out there for psychologists and stuff like that on LinkedIn, and there's been like over 100 applications. People want to like go in there and sort of sort out the players' mindset. So I just find it hilarious, man. Like all this with like 5 weeks to go, all that stuff is too late. It's too late for that now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
100%, mate. So we'll get to these super chats. Corral, is it Corral or Coral? Like,
No,
Let me know.
Corral.
Corral. Because I always pronounce it down. I go Corral and I correct myself to Coral. Like the petting shop. 499 super chat. We still appreciate you every time, mate. Until Pablo is dropped, we need goals. I'm not a fan of Pablo. Is Coral. And Tatty starts as sub. I'm not confident in us winning any game comfortably. I'd start Tatty and Traore and Wilson. So Coral starts Traore and Wilson over Pablo and Tatty.
No chance.
Got on
So,
Friday. I'm not having it, Coral.
No chance. The thing is, right? Look, we're all fans, innit? Some of us look at the game in different aspects, but one of the reasons why Callum Wilson, let's start with him, for example. Callum Wilson is the best goal scorer, arguably, in the squad, right? Best finisher, maybe even or behind Bowie. Let's just say Callum Wilson's the best finisher. However, he's not a Nuno player for what the work rate that Nuno wants. The moment you bring in Wilson into a team, then there's a lack of front press, which therefore will then create overloads. And then you've got other players then covering certain positions, and then everyone gets pulled out, etc. So that's the kind of conundrum we have when it comes to things like stick or twist. And we kind of saw that against Palace where we brought him on. It was the right play to bring him on, but it then means sort of taking risks and being able to kind of lose the possession. So then if you bring Traore in that, like both of them, and try to do that, what Traore doesn't have, he doesn't have the defensive discipline. So a bit like Wan-Bissaka. Now Wan-Bissaka's great one-on-one and etc. And he's also good for creating attacks and doubling up with Bowen. But he can have that lapse of concentration where someone might slip in behind him. And this is why Walker Peters is currently in the team. So if you have Traore in, for example, from the start, he might have an impact one way, but then that could impact us defensively. So having them as impact players is definitely the right play. You'll see a massive transition if you took both Tati and Pablo out. You would see a massive drop off in other players because a lot of the donkey work that they're doing, the unfashionable stuff that they're doing, that's not pretty on the eye or people don't see, it looks ineffective.
Some of you benefited from that.
A lot of that stuff, particularly Somerville, that's upped his game 30%. Like literally, but people don't see that, and that's just my view on it.
Shout out to Trent and the Forest fan. Sorry, Scott, do you want to quickly say something on that?
Yeah, no, go on, mate. Do that first, and then I'll come in after. Go
on. Trent End 199 super chat says Spurs have averaged 0.6 points since November. I'd be interested to see how many points we've averaged, but it's like someone was saying, the fact that they have won so little. They've got to be the favourites, but apparently Gabby Abonglahor says they're getting 11 points. So they've averaged 0.6 points since November, but they're getting 11 points in their last 5. Mad.
God, I don't know.
Mad. This is they're desperate. Apparently, there's a lot of rumours, by the way, that the Premier League and Sky, these are desperate for Spurs to stay up because they see it as they'll be losing, revenue and all of this stuff. Which wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's funny, isn't it? Because from the neutral's perspective, like I think the majority of the league actually wants Spurs to go down. We got like the whole of London like rooting for us, which is funny.
Fans
like it makes me laugh.
Money people don't.
Yeah,
that's the unfortunate thing. Money people are the people that talk. The thing is, Dan, I did think that, right? I did think that the Premier League are not going to be wanting one of their darling clubs to get relegated. And I think the telling point of that was the penalty they didn't get against Sunderland. I think if that was given, I think there's legs to the fact. But the fact that wasn't given, I don't think there is.
Oh yeah, no. But the thing is, they probably don't want them to go down. But not suggesting that they're fixing anything or not. It's they're hopeful. They're hoping that Spurs
listen, as I've said this many occasions.
I mean, if they gave that penalty, Scott, I'll just say this: it'd be so blatantly, obviously corrupt. It would be.
But when has the Premier League not been blatantly obvious?
Oh no, I agree.
We brought in VAR and they're still blatantly honest when they're cheating. You know, this is the thing. But
we've heard it from all the pundits, though. Like this, all the media, right? And in sport, they say the same thing. Oh, we can't have Spurs go down. Oh, it'd be bad for football. I don't want to see Spurs go down.
And these are the same people that said Gareth Southgate is a great manager, but don't want to manage in their football club. Yo, this what the pundits know. They played.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is, these are the people, like the voices, the spokesman for Sky, who are connected to the Premier League and all that. They all work hand in hand. Like
Scudamore turned around and said clubs like West Ham and Southampton and Crystal Palace qualifying for Europe is bad for the Premier League.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. It's not bad for the Premier League because it shows how competitive the Premier League is.
That's right.
I'll say this all the time. Travel around the world, go to all these different sports bars, all these different outback places, and find me a Tottenham shirt hanging in every bar. You won't see it. Newcastle are a bigger club worldwide than what Tottenham are. You know, as I've said all along, Tottenham are this team that live this fairy tale fantasy that they're the big in this big six. They're one of the big boys. They're not. They're the whipping boys of the big six. And if they win in the Super League, they'd be the whipping boys of the Super League. You know, they really need to realise they're just a normal football club who have had this little bit of a fairy tale because they've been in the Champions League, got to the Champions League final, and it's coming to an end. And what a fall from grace it would be if they get relegated. And like you said, I've not met, since this relegation battles and Tottenham's been sucked into it, I've not met a fan other than a Spurs fan that don't want Spurs to go down.
Yeah, proper fans, yeah. Shout out to Iron Kid, by the way. He came through. So West Ham have averaged 0.95 since November.
What's that? What in terms of what
points?
The thing is,
Spurs average 0.6 with average 0.9.
Yeah, but okay, so you can make data work towards how you want it. Yeah, if you then move that to January, and if I do it layman's terms, right? If the Premier League started in January, which it didn't, yeah, we would be, I think it's 6th in the league right now. If the league stopped right now, so you could make it sway however you want. The bottom line is Spurs have got 6 points with their last 3 managers. Yeah, again, you could make it look however bad or good you want it to. So. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, bottom line is Spurs have won 2 home games all season. I'm pretty sure they only won 2 all last season. So if there's like four games in what, 8, almost 2 seasons. So it's, you know what I mean? It's bad. Whoever goes down, them or us, it's deserved.
It's deserved. Yeah, if we get relegated over them, mate, we deserve it. It would be
absolutely
an absolute embarrassment for either team. Like imagine like the hatred between the 2 fan bases. Like one fat club is going to have that bragging rights that we stayed up in your place, like we sent you down. Like it cannot happen. And then the added thing, I know Millwall are drawing with Leicester at the moment, but the added fucking stick the knife in of Millwall coming up. Like this cannot happen. It can't. And just on the game tomorrow is huge. And I think I would actually like to see one change. And I like Kyle Walker-Peters. I've been a big defender of his and supporter of his. But tomorrow I'd like to see Wan-Bissaka come back. I think we see a better Bowen when Wan-Bissaka's on the pitch. I think we see a more effective Bowen when Wan-Bissaka's on the pitch. And I think for the sake of Bowen, we need him. We need him scoring. We need him chipping in. I would bring in Wan-Bissaka as solid as Walker-Peters has been.
It's the kind of game you can do it. It's a home game. It's playing against a team that, also play sort of like a mid-block, a safety first, looking for turnovers, counter-attack. So it is actually a game you can do it. And the only instruction I would give Wan-Bissaka is to make sure he's looking over his shoulder and he doesn't let someone run in behind him. But other than that, you're totally right. It's a game you can do it, and you can get the best out of Bowen. with that change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one, and I'm with you what you said about Wilson and Tiore. You know, when you look at the work rate, Tatty, you know, Tatty wasn't brought. The mad thing is, Tatty weren't brought in to score goals. He didn't have this great goal scoring record in Syria. You know, I think he'd scored about 3 goals or all season of when we signed him. You know, but it's the work rate and the tenacity that brings other people into the game. The thing, like you said, what you're saying with Wilson is that Wilson, it doesn't give you that, but he's more deadly in front of goal.
Yeah.
And you know, the key thing for a striker is to put the ball in the back of the net. But when you've got players like Somerville and you've got players like Bowen who are perfectly capable of putting the ball back in net, you can use other players who are going to do all that donkey work, all that hard running to bring them into the game, which will benefit the team, which is what we've seen. There's no coincidence we've seen Pablo and Tatty and the energy that they bring. And then you've seen, you know, Bowen's been a bit hit and miss, but you've seen Somerville up until the injury raise his levels, you know, and it gives a little bit more of protection for the midfield as well because of the amount of harassing and running that they're doing. You know, it puts you saw with Palace, they had to go long a lot of times, because it was, and that played into our hands because they didn't have Mateta up top. And this is what you've got to look at in the games. And this is where, in a way, for me, Nuno let himself down, is that when he took Pablo off and brought Wilson on and then left Bowen, and Bowen was pocketed by the left winger the whole game.
Yeah.
You know, that you could see that change. That needed that. Even when Bowen got free, the left winger caught up on him, you know, or the left back, whatever it is, or between him and the left side of the centre half, they had Bowen. That was the change. Tiore there. You know, the bulldozer that he is, the pace that he's got, bring Bowen into the centre, play him up top with Matty. You've still got the tenacity, you've still got Bowen able to get onto the ball, but then you've got this big burly bulldozer who's quick, who's going to cause Palace more problems. That's where, for me, he went wrong. And that's what we need to see against Everton. We've got to be, like you said, Wan-Bissaka coming in. Cole Walker-Peters has done brilliantly. But going forward, Wan-Bissaka brings you that. But I think tomorrow we need to be that little more attacking. You know, Moyes will do the low bot. Moyes does Moyes ball. We know that. We know they've got decent players and we know they're going to counter well. But I think the way our back line's been playing, the way Souček's been playing is sort of protecting that back line as well. I think we can afford to bring Wan-Bissaka in for this one.
Yeah, it's good. Agree.
I agree, mate. And another thing that I forgot is Spurs picked up another injury. Destiny Udogie got injured, and I know he's not like a name that you go, oh my god, like he's their best player, but it's a player that De Zerbi has been starting. It's a player that De Zerbi's earmarked as, well, this guy fits what I'm trying to do, and it's now another forced change of trying to find the next backup. You know, who's going to come in next. So it's just with Spurs, with the rate they're getting injuries now, you don't rule out the possibility that they can pick up more. That, you know, Van der Ven can get injured. You know, flipping Richarlison, Solanke definitely can get injured. Like they're just, I don't know what is happening. That's what I've said to Spurs fans is, you know, when they go, oh, but injuries, like managing injuries is also a part of the sport. Like whatever they're doing behind the scenes for 2 years now, the last 2 years, I think even potentially the season before Angie's first season, I think they might have had some injuries. But whatever they're doing behind the scenes is playing a factor into them getting so. It's not just down to bad luck. I don't buy that they're getting this level of injuries down to bad luck. It just can't be. There's something happening, and I think they could potentially get more injuries.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a bit like with us, weren't it? With Antonio and, you know, we went through a period where we had loads of players going down injured. You know, when we were playing with about 4 or 5 first teamers. Do
you remember when it was that period, right? We was looking at where we moved from Chadwell-Leaf to Rush Green. We was looking at the factor of, well, I remember the discussion at the time. Well, is it Chadwell-Leaf that we're training Chadwell-Leaf causing all these injuries? Then we moved, you know, so. That it could be anything, couldn't it?
Yeah, this is the thing, and you know, it's it's tough. You can't use injuries as an excuse. Yes, it plays a part, but you should have players to come in and deal with that job, to replace the players. And I just think they've got too many bad apples in their squad. And I think we got rid of all our bad apples at the right time. And now you see a togetherness that you've not seen at Spurs, which is, a big thing. And that could potentially play in our favour.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. With each game week that goes by, like we said earlier on, if they don't pick up a positive result, if they don't pick up 3 points tomorrow, it's another game week gone by, and it's just pressure.
Yeah.
And you just run out of steam, run out of track. You know what I mean? Run out of opportunities to get it right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, listen, 100%, mate. And it just comes down to us, like, win tomorrow, because even if they win and we win, it's like, fuck, we finally won. But they won, like, so we're still not at the bottom three. Like, you have to. It's a psychological war as well. It is a war on the
thing
pitch.
is, as well, Dan. You if you look at it that way, we was in that position. Yeah, we picked up a win and thought, right, yeah, that's got us closer. And then Forest went and won. When we never closed the gap, and slowly but surely we closed that gap. But it took 5 or 6 games to close that gap, to get them back to back, back to back big points, and to close the gap, and them to falter a little bit. And even if Spurs come into that, so long as we win, like you said, that then, we've won our game. They've played brilliantly against Brighton, didn't win. They go and beat Wolves, but we beat Everton. They've finally won a game, but they're still the same amount of points behind. And then that starts getting in their head. And this is the thing: if they're not strong enough psychologically, that will play a part. Each game, as the games dwindle down, that will be there. Then you'll have the added pressure of playing at home again, because the fans are like, no, we're expecting you to win. And you see, how the fans walked out when things weren't going well for them. Listen, I think we win tomorrow. If they don't, then I think it's done. But I think we win tomorrow is a big, big psychological boost for us.
Just win. Them. Just please, West Ham, just win. Like, for us, and I'm looking at our attack. Defense have been pulling their weight. Midfield even was better. I'm looking at our attackers. Is make smart decisions. Fucking run your asses off. Create chances. Like, just please don't let us down, because we've got a lot going for us versus them. Like I said, we have got the togetherness. We have got a balanced team compared to what Spurs have at the moment. We have got everyone fit, touch wood, right? And we have got a manager that's been there for a while, and a coaching team that knows these players, that is settled, and they know what the manager wants and how he wants to play. Like, we've got all of these advantages. So for us to fumble it from it, it'd be a bottle job.
Yeah,
you can't bottle it.
Yeah, totally agree. I must say, Dan, as well, I should have said at the beginning, well done yesterday, mate. I saw your thing on TalkSport with them Muppets. Candy and
O'Hara.
What's his face? O'Hara. But yeah, I think that was 10 out of 10, mate. Very well done there. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out.
Go check it out. Yeah, Lawless Live. Go check it out. Jamie O'Hara said West Ham are getting 0 points for the rest of the season. That's what he believes. You got Gabby Bonglahor saying Spurs are getting 11 points. Jamie O'Hara saying West Ham's getting 0 points. Let's see. So go check it out. That was a fun one with Candy and O'Hara, Lawless Live. Before we give our predictions, shout out to OK Jersey. Down below, click the QR code or put the link in the chat in the search bar. Nikki 10 for 10% off. So go get those. It says 15 quid. They might be 17 quid, I think, because of the whole political climate. They've put the prices up by a couple of quid. So go use that. We need to hook Brian up. We need to get Brian a couple of shirts or something as well.
No, I've been doing my OK jerseys, man. I'm repping one right now. But what's going on here? Look. What's going on? It's 8%, man. I'm sure it was 10%. What's going on here?
Well, originally it was 8%. Then we managed to get 10% out of him. So yeah, that's the feeler one. Nice. Yeah. So like I said, you go get your internationals. Get your retro club shirts. It's got the lovely Cotty one on there.
Yeah,
Look at that. Both beautiful West Ham kits, and it comes to kits, a nice home and a nice.
And they're good quality shirts, mate. They're good quality shirts. You know, the England one I had on the other day, that's proper top-notch quality. It ain't like they're not cheap. They're not cheap, like material. They are the proper stuff, and they feel good.
Go get them in. We've got a super chat here. A question for Scott Bilal, £2 super chat. Scott, can I give you a hickey? He asked. I think that's random.
Stop them talk there.
It's a super chat, so I had to read it out. But yeah, I think that was for you, Scott. That's a no comment.
You're the man in the middle, mate. It must have been for you.
Right, let's predictions. Oh god, I hate doing predictions, but you kind of got to do it. You got to bloody get your chest out and put your name on a prediction. I'm gonna say, I think I said like on another thing 2-1, but really I'm thinking about. I think 1-0 West Ham. Like I'm backing the boys. I hope, like Brian made a point about their away record, but I'm pretty sure our home record, like this year, has been pretty solid. Like from what it was, ours was almost as bad as Spurs before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, managed to turn it around. So our home form is pretty good. I think the fans will be up for it. Yeah, and with like you said, some of the injuries they've got. Yeah, I'm gonna back the boys and say 1-0, a nervy 1-0. Right.
Go on, Brian.
So my heart says the same. My heart says 1-0 West Ham. My head says 1-1 or 0-0.
We'll predict the Spurs Wolves game after as well. Go on.
That's even harder. But yeah, so yeah, man, I got to try and channel this positive energy in it. Fortune favors the brave. So let's go 1-0 West Ham.
I don't think we'll keep another clean sheet. I'll be honest, and I'm a lot like you, Val. I want to believe we're going to win, but the head down we're not. But no, I'm going to, like you said, let's stay positive. I think we're going to win 2-1. We won't keep a clean sheet.
10-1, did you say?
2-1.
2-1.
I was first saying he said 10-1.
No, it's going to be nervy. I think it's going to be nervy. Them opening 20 minutes are going to be torture, I think.
Mate, it's going to be sickening watching that, especially whilst having, you know, the Spurs. You'll probably be in the ground following the Spurs results, or people will be going, oh, Spurs scored, or Wolves have scored. Like that's going to be coming in. Be interested to see how that trickles into the home end, and the same vice versa. It'll be the same thing if we score, that trickle in the away end. So that'll be big. So yeah, no, it's nervy. It is nervy. I'm looking at the Spurs Wolves game.
Boy.
It's massive for Spurs. De Zerbi, maybe a bit more time with the team, but they have got an awful record against Wolves. Wolves down. It's a question mark over what Wolves are, because Wolves is form. Like I know we beat them 4-0, but they really started to improve. You know, as we started to get into this year. You know, particularly at home. So it's just what Wolves is, what officially being relegated does to them. If it does make them play with more freedom and more pressure, or they just think, fuck it, what's the point? I'm gonna say 1-1. Oh, 4-1 now. 4-1, but it's probably too little too late for us to win this. Yeah, I'm gonna say 1-1. Wolves 1, Spurs 1. I'm gonna say.
It really depends. You know what? This game depends who scores first as well. If Wolves score first, yeah, the life force will be sucked from Tottenham, and they'll be like, "Here we go again" mentality. Then you got the Wolves fans up for it, home game. Do you know what I mean? I think that could be like a real sort of thing. So this one's kind of really hard to predict. And I haven't looked at it, but I've purposely not looked at it. But yeah, a score draw is probably more realistic. This is one game you could believe any result. Spurs winning, Wolves winning, it being a draw. Any of those results, you can absolutely believe it happening. So, yeah, it's tricky, man.
This looks like it's going to be ruled out, by the way, this goal anyway. It looks like it's going to be offside. Scott, what are you reckoning on this?
So I've just been looking at this, right? The mad thing is, Wolves haven't scored in their last two, right? And they've got battered 4-0 and 3-0. Right? But before that, they were unbeaten barring the cup game against Liverpool. They've won their last two home games in the league, one against Liverpool and one against Aston Villa.
Interesting.
So, and the game before that, I think they lost to Palace, but they were reduced to 10 men. So I think it all plays on what again they're going to be. Like I said, they know they're down. It's professional pride. It's to get them fans off your back to try and give them something to go home happy about. And I just think they're just going to have that little bit of psychological edge over Tottenham. I really do. So I think Spurs are going to lose, and I think it's going to be 2-1 Wolves.
Yeah, all the pressure's on Spurs. None of it is on Wolves. Like none of it. So that is going to be interesting. Let's hope that Wolves feel the same as the rest of the country and want to send Spurs down and raise their game, because it is one of the big six. So they do raise their game, and how much of a high profile game it is. Oh, it'd be beautiful. It would be beautiful if Wolves won. So just really stick the nail in the coffin. So yeah, well, we'll see tomorrow. I'm dreading it. I am absolutely dreading it. I got my cousin's 40th afterwards, and all the family's West Ham. So it's definitely going to dictate the mood. That's for sure. If we was to touch, I dread to think if we was to bloody lose and they win, how it would be. But it's not going to happen. Channel the positivity. Surely this goal's going to be ruled out. Channel the positivity. Come on, West Ham. We are going to win. They're going to lose. The universe wants them to go down. So
I want to see a 5-point gap. That would be nice.
Yeah. Jace is not on the watch along tomorrow. The Jinx, Jinxy Jace, as Jason said there.
He's banned.
He's banned tomorrow. We'll see if we win, then I might have to ban him for the rest of the season. This is the guy, by the way, who was sucking off Tatty just egregiously, just terribly. And Tatty has not scored a single goal where Jace has been present on a watch. Every goal he scored is when Jace ain't it. So yeah, I'm banking on a Tatty goal tomorrow. So yeah, let's have it. So yeah, we will be back for the watch along tomorrow. It's going to be big. I'm going to have the game on. I'm going to try and get the Spurs game on the side. So we are going to try and do both. I'm going to be sick. It's going to be a horrible. I need you all there for support. So join me tomorrow.
Before we go, Dan, talking to support, our man Graham's running the London Marathon on Sunday. So if anyone's in the area, head down, keep your eye out for him. It's a big thing for him to do. It's a big milestone for him. I think it's his third London Marathon, so it's huge. So, I know, Dan, you've got a link to his Just Giving. If you want to sponsor him, please do so. And if you're down London way, going to watch a marathon, keep an eye out for him and give him a good cheer on.
Yeah, no, 100%. Support our guy Graham. Hopefully he smashes it. He will smash it. Of course, he'll smash it.
Yeah.
So yeah, good show, lads. Thank you for joining. Thanks for coming on, Brian. It's been good to have you.
Worries, man.
It's been a while since we had you on this one.
Yeah, man, definitely. Likewise.
It was a nice chill one. So tomorrow it's going to be big. We'll be there, so don't miss it. So listen, thank you all so much for watching. One thing left to say: come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons.